Welcome back to Spotlight. I'd like to welcome my guest, Dion. Welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you.
Good. Tasha, it's good to see you as always.
Thank you.
Yes, and Brother Wheatley. It's a pleasure to have you with me again.
Thank you, sir.
Sure make you a co-host. You're here so often, but that's because you're doing a lot of work.
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. Well, first tell us about the scholarship fund. Well, tell us about the board and the fund. What is it and what the board is about?
The scholarship fund was in place by the government for quite some years now. We are a newly appointed board. We have a very aggressive, a very excited team, ready to establish some of the protocols that were put in place and really get some of the objectives done. We have a fund that's being provided in partnership with the Caribbean Development Bank, the Ministry of Education and Culture, the government, and we would like to see how we can get more of our people in the British Virgin Islands educated and trained across all industries, whether it's a technical industry, whether it's financial services, tourism, any of the above.
Okay. And how many members on the board?
The board has 8 members.
Currently.
And
7 members, we have some members from the Ministry of Education and Culture. Ex officio.
And what are your goals? What's your task with as a board?
We have a fund established, and we have to get the persons in the BVI trained, developed, through education. We have to be able to take that fund and even expand on the fund that's established, which is through investment. The National Development Bank of British Virgin Islands has been established as our partner to assist us in the administrative side of it, such as the banking side of the fund.
So you give out scholarships?
We give out, it is a scholarship trust fund board, but we have to create a clear definition between the scholarship board and the scholarship trust fund board. We give loans to the community, such as a bank.
Okay. Now, so it's different from when I apply for a scholarship because I have a 4.0 grade point average, and
yes,
you give me $18,000 a year to go with 4 years to get a degree in the field of my choice or the field of your choice.
Yeah.
It's different from that.
Correct.
This is where I want to get an education, but I don't have any money, and you give me a soft loan.
We have a wider scope to cover. We not only cover if you have a 4.0 average, but we like to see the continuous development of persons. So if you have gone to your bachelor's already, or you have already established schooling or already working, you can still apply to the Scholarship Trust Fund to further develop your skills. If you are a mechanic and you have something that you like to do to further expand what you're able to cover, we are there for you. If you're in the marine industry, we're there for you as well, because the BVI has a number of industries, a wide scope, financial services, as I mentioned, tourism, and all of these industries need support, including construction, real estate. They need support, and they need trained people within these industries to help keep the standard that we're looking at achieving for the future. Our slogan right now, as we established in the last meeting, is investing for the future, in our future. We would like to invest in our future to make sure that we have skilled persons trained in the BVI to conduct some of the several things that need to be done for the future as demand continues to grow.
Okay. I don't have specific questions, so feel free to add, chime in to clarify anything.
I think in addition to what the chairman has noted, the board was established to help administer and govern the entire trust fund process. And while he's highlighted quite a number of things that we're looking at futuristically, it's also the fund is available as a means to an end for individuals, not just, for example, you might have individuals who might have gotten a scholarship, but of course they need to, as you pinpointed, $18,000 does not meet the full needs of individuals, especially going to college at the college level. This is another option that's available to individuals to circumvent
So a person who has a scholarship but needs some more money to continue, can get a loan
as an option
from the fund.
Right.
Okay. How much money is in the fund, and how much money can you get at a time? How does the eligibility and the criteria work?
Right now it's open to belongers, BVI landers, persons in the Virgin Islands who are residing and living here. And it's not just for BVI landers, I should highlight. The CDB loan scheme stipulates persons who are also in the other Caribbean territories or from other Caribbean territories. So it's open to persons who are residing in the Virgin Islands that may also be from other countries in the Caribbean. And persons are expected to at least be living here for at least a period of 5 years before submitting the application for the loan. It also looks at persons who are dependent, in other words, are not necessarily on their own but have those opportunities. We ask applicants to submit the photo ID, passport size photos, high school diploma if they're already enrolled in college and so forth. The usual application process, similar to the scholarship process. We also have the students the persons who apply for the loans have to also submit information relating to their security. As we highlighted, it's a loan. So you have to have some sort of security, land.
You have to have collateral.
Collateral, exactly, to meet that loan. And that would have to also be done with a surety. So that those individuals would be signing as a surety to you securing that loan.
And all the loans are processed through the Caribbean Development Bank?
No.
The loans are processed through the National Development Bank. That's our partner for administrating the loan.
Right.
Okay.
The funds comes from the Caribbean Development Bank.
Okay. All right. That it doesn't matter. How much funds are there?
The government has been funding the program for quite some time, quite some years now. The latest partner has been the Caribbean Development Bank. And we have sufficient funds to fund numerous persons, and we've already funded quite a few persons in the community already.
So there's a reason why you're not giving me an exact figure?
No, there's not a reason. We would like to make sure that the persons who are applying are not applying just because they would like to apply. Our goal is to make sure that persons in the community are trained. So what we are here today to say as a group, that we have funds to train people in the different areas. So it's not a matter of targeting how much money there is. The point for today is that there is enough money to help train several persons in the community, like we have been doing several years.
Okay. So if I want to, well, is there age requirement? Can a 60-year-old man apply to become an auto mechanic? Apply for funds to go become an auto mechanic?
How should we answer that?
I would think so, once they meet the criteria.
Once an individual meets the criteria.
Okay. And the criteria is, well, what is the criteria? We talked about having collateral,
Right.
but you have to have a job. You have to, I mean, how the loan is guaranteed, how it's structured. You pay monthly payments. It's after you graduate. How does it work?
Presently, the loan is governed where the surety pays the interest on the loan. For example, in the event a student secures the loan, it's secured with the surety. So that surety would continue to pay the interest on the loan until that individual completes their studies.
So I have a piece of land as collateral.
Right.
How does that land pay the interest?
It's not paying the interest. It's held as collateral in the event of the person
defaulting
on the loan. It's not paying the.
Okay, so that's securing the loan.
Exactly.
And the loan doesn't have to be paid back until after I graduate.
Exactly. What is paid is the interest on the loan.
So while I'm going to school, I'm paying the interest.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's where the surety comes in.
The surety comes in to make sure that I'm paying the interest and I'm going to pay back the loan.
Right. Or the surety actually pays the interest in the interim while the student is always studying.
Where am I understanding that?
the typical case that you have walking.
Walk me through, because the people need to understand. The young people in the audience need to understand how the loan
It's
fund
governed, right.
is working, is structured, how it's working. So walk me through an applicant situation from application criteria to giving the loan to paying back the loan.
Okay, applications are available at the Ministry of Education. We have available at the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, also the help desk. We're right now working on a system where they'll be available online. But applications should be submitted. It has the full detail as to what should be submitted with that application. It's submitted through the Ministry of Education directly, and once the information is submitted with the relevant criteria such as the photo ID, high school diploma, sureties, proof of signature, job letters to verify the status and so forth. We also look for, in terms of the collateral that would be provided, if possible, an appraisal of the property or housing or whatever it is that they're submitting, and that should also be submitted with the application. What we do is, through the ministry, once the application is reviewed, that information is brought before the board. The board would then review that information. Also, we've established a new procedure where we actually interview applicants as to basically verify the status of this individual, to see if this is a person who seems to know what they're about, know where they're going and so forth. We also look at gaining credit assessments of the applicants as well as the surety, and that is done through the National Bank. Once they provide that information to the board, information goes before the board, and the board makes a final decision as to whether or not that applicant is approved for the loan, looking at the security and all of the relevant information that's submitted.
Okay.
And that's communicated to that individual.
Do you have to have grades or level of education, any
Yes.
of those kind of qualifications?
Yes, we do. In the event it's an individual who may have already been in college, they can provide proof of the enrollment as well as the current GPAs and so forth. Of course, if in the event it's not an individual who's already enrolled, as long as they can provide proof that they've been accepted into an institution and so forth, those are the type of information that we look at.
Okay. And what are the interest rates?
Interest rate is 8%.
Yeah.
On the loans. It's very similar to a bank loan, but we're a lot more, I would say, flexible in making sure that the person actually completes the process. We try to make it as easy and facilitate. The important thing for persons to do is to express an interest to us, that they would like to follow a particular course of study or whatever their path they're interested in doing.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't I go to a bank and borrow money at 6% or 7%? Why would I come to the scholarship trust fund to borrow money? And I could borrow money at a lower rate from a regular bank. What? I don't understand that.
We can't dictate which option persons choose per se. I understand it would be a lower interest rate, but based on what we have set in place and the guidelines that we're following, right now it is 8% where you don't pay interest. You only pay interest while you are studying. Persons, I'm sure, can look at their options and weigh the options and see what's the best option. One of the important things that we have listed is that we are there to help not just the person that is easily qualified, can easily qualify to the bank, but also persons who may be challenged. As long as we have some level of confidence that the person, once they return, will pay back the loan.
Okay. And any specific vocations you're targeting, like plumbing, electrician, the technical areas, or anybody that wants to learn anything?
Anybody that has an interest in a specific field of study is who we would like to assist. And we're taking a forward-thinking approach. We're thinking very futuristically, and we also don't want people to think it is just academics. We also really want to get into the technical areas. We want to find out from, say, for example, the airport, the hospital expansion, what positions may they be needing 2-3 years from now. We want people to know, okay, this is what the BVI will need. Are you interested? And so we want to make people aware of what the opportunities are, what will be coming up. And if they meet the criteria for the loan, then we want them to come and speak to us. So that's the approach we're taking as a new board. Very kind of forward thinking.
Okay. So you're going to try to match the BVI manpower needs.
Right.
You're going to try to do a small assessment
Right.
of the manpower needs,
Right.
and try to let people know that these skill sets are in demand at this particular time,
Right.
and we have a loan offering to
Right.
help you to achieve those skills.
And in the mandate from the
Obtain those
CDB, is what we call some high priority areas. There are some positions that are given priority, not exclusive, but we're really fine tuning that list more specifically to where the BVI is heading, where we see the needs. For example, energy, green energy seems to be certainly the way of the future, as an example. And so we want to identify what those needs might be and make the public aware. Listen, we're going to be needing specialists in these areas, so we want them to be aware, and if we can help, come and speak with us.
Okay. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to open up the phones and see if anybody wants to call and find out any information that we didn't discuss tonight. The segment is fast coming to a close, so there's an opportunity to ask a question that you may have that may be specifically your concern, your individual concern. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come right back with more Spotlight and members of the Scholarship Trust Fund Board right after this.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, the BVI Tourist Board, and CCT Global Communications.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm Edgewenka, and I'm here with the chairman of the Scholarship Fund,
Scholarship
Trust Fund Board, Mr. Dion Vanterpool. I'm here with two other members, Ms. Tasha Bertie. She's Assistant Secretary, and I suppose that your connection is a government representative on the board.
Yes, that's right.
And Mr. Albert Wheatley is a member of the board. And we were talking about a trust fund that's set up to provide low-interest loans for persons who want to further their education, who want to get additional training. The numbers are on the screen. You can text me or you can call if I forgot to ask any questions or I wasn't clear in the questions that I was asking and you're not satisfied with some of the answers that you've gotten. Give us a call. We have maybe 5 or 6 minutes more to wait for this segment, so make sure you call right now and get your questions in. Persons applying is going to also have to go through a credit check.
Right.
So it's just like
Similar if you've applied
going for a loan any place.
Yes.
But I think it's important to talk about the difference between coming to the trust fund
And rather than going to another
going
bank.
to a bank. And I think there are some significant differences.
Yeah. Well, as we highlighted before, we mentioned the criteria or additional information with security. One of the things that we also look at is based on the credit assessment and always say the standard of that individual. The loans can also be approved based on promissory notes or personal guarantees to those loans. So that's one plus or one difference in comparison to going through another bank for a loan. You don't have that option.
Yeah. So it's a sort of a leniency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not as strict and it's not as rigid, and actually your chances are greater of getting a loan from the Scholarship Trust Fund than another institution.
Because part of the mandate is to really help with the development of the human resource of the BVI.
Yes,
so
exactly.
You don't want to make it impossible.
So your goal is that your purpose is actually to develop human resources.
Exactly.
So you're making it, and of course you want the money to to go around.
That's
Exactly.
right.
So,
That's
so
right.
you need to have it replaced so you could lend it to somebody else.
Correct.
So you have to have some rules in place where to make sure that you collect that money back so somebody else can get a loan.
Exactly.
So you could have sustainability.
Yes.
There's a certain percentage that's even spoken about in our mandate that we are to address what is coined in the mandate as poor and vulnerable, which really deals with and speaks to us not just addressing someone that may be economically able to get a loan, but also covering persons who are trying to progress in life and improve themselves. So that's really one of the things that's important to mention.
Yeah. Okay. So persons who are considered to maybe not have as great an advantage or opportunity as some others,
Or even personal income to that level.
a personal income to that level, have a good chance as well of,
Yes.
of being able to improve themselves to get to that other level.
Yes.
Right.
And this is an opportunity, an avenue that's available
As,
to these type of
as available
persons.
to them. So I see now I'm beginning to get a feel for how this is working. How many scholarships or loans have you given out? How many, let's just say, I shouldn't say scholarships. How many loans have you given out so far? Have you given out any as yet as a new board?
We have, as a board, have issued about, I think it's about 6 to 10, about around that range.
So you've been aboard for 6 months now.
For 6 months now. What we are doing is trying to improve the pool of applicants that we have, because we want to cover, as I said, a broader spectrum in the community. We like persons to be aware that there is an option if you're not able to get through the bank or through your own personal finances to progress. And since before we were in place, there were numerous persons who actually have gone through the Scholarship Trust Fund to progress, and I would say, I don't even know what number, over 50 to 60 people actually have received these loans
Over the years.
over the years.
So if you want to get an application, you can come to the Ministry of Education.
That's right.
You could pick it up at the information desk downstairs as well.
Yes.
And if persons need help filling out the application,
Of course, at the ministry, we're quite capable and willing to assist any individual who might have questions or need some clarity on the process, and we're available to do that as well.
okay. And if someone wants to contact you to ask anything or to, any question, can they do so before coming and get an application?
Sure. You can contact myself, Tasha Bertie, in the Ministry of Education, or Miss Doris Christopher, also assists directly with the management of the Scholarship Trust Fund process in the ministry.
All right, great.
One of the things we also want people to understand, Cromwell, is that it's not just academics. We really want to get people from specific industries, whether it be dive, whether it be mechanic, construction, air conditioning. Again, I like to use the example of the mechanic, the guy who's been working at a shop for 15 years, but never been to school. We were looking at the possibility of sending him for 3 months, 6 months in Ireland to a company, for example, where he gets a certification in a specific area, so that he knows has greater qualifications and can earn more, instead of us having to always bring somebody from outside simply because of the certification.
Right. And of course, when you have certification, you could go anywhere in the world and work.
Absolutely,
That's right.
absolutely.
So I think that's really an important aspect to the fund, where people can advance.
Yeah. And we also want business owners to come out and speak with us, because we want to dialogue with them to find out what their needs are, and they can tell us what they're looking at down the road, so we can more educate the public.
Well, that just brought something to my mind. Say I'm a business owner and I have an employee, and I would like that employee to get some additional training, but I can't afford to send that employee.
Right.
Well, go ahead, tell me. y'all say my smiling, so you know what I'm going to ask, right?
Yeah, but that's what we've been discussing among us. That's why we're kind of excited, because the businesses may not have the means to do it, but the individual may have the means to qualify for the loan, and the businesses may also be able to assist with some degree of funding. So we're open to that discussion. And how can we make it happen?
So the business could say, well, listen, he's going to have a job when he comes back.
Exactly.
So that's sort of like almost like a surety.
Exactly.
That's like a surety.
Because what we want, the ideal is if anybody goes away and study, they should have something to come back to when they're completed.
Right.
It has to be that way.
So that's an attractive situation.
Absolutely.
Where businesses can help to provide human resources for themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Human resources for themselves through using the scholarship trust fund.
Right.
So that's great. Well, we're under the tyranny of the clock. And if there's any last words, something I missed, something I neglected to ask, something we didn't get out, this is a good opportunity to do that right now.
One of the things that I would highlight or want to remind persons, the beauty of the Scholarship Trust Fund Board process is one that it's constantly available. It's always evolving and revolving. The loan process, of course we know persons may decide to go to school at any point. It's different to the scholarship process where you have to apply a year in advance. Applications are available all the time, but we look at them for 2 periods in particular. We look at for the fall semester as well as the spring semester. So, things might change for individuals here and there. And if you've decided, I want to start school in spring 2013, we would encourage you to make the application.
You need like a 3-month advance period.
Exactly, 3 to 4 months advance period.
So if I'm planning to go to school, the semester in which I'm planning to go to school, I need to apply about 3 or 4 months.
At least 4 months. Yeah,
at
3
least
to 4
months
before. Yes.
And do I always need to have an acceptance letter from a college, or can I say I want to do this, I want to secure the loan, and while I apply, I look for a institution, and then when I find an institution, then I could come and get the loan.
Exactly.
Can I do it that way as well?
Yes. Once the information, it has to be submitted in order for it to be approved. So as long as you can show that you've been doing the homework and it's something that should be coming, that you're interested in, then we'd expect that at that point.
If you approve it, you'll hold the money for me, and when I get a school, then I could go.
It can be worked.
It could be worked out.
Yes.
It can be worked. We're flexible. The important thing is express your interest.
Exactly.
The important thing is that you want to help people to advance
To get there. That's right.
in their human development, in their personal development.
Our goal is we're investing in our future.
Great. Dion Vanderpool, thank you, my brother.
Thank you very much for having us.
Guest on Spotlight, Tasha Corti.
Thank you, sir.
Albert Bigley. Thank you for coming. Yes. It's a great endeavor, and I'm happy to bring the information to the public. So you keep it locked right here to Spotlight. We'll be right back.
Spotlight is brought to you by Tortola Concrete Limited and H. Lavity Stout Community College.